Okay, it's after class on Monday night, our first class, and it was an interesting experience describing the nonprofit world in a slightly shortened version historically, and also from a global perspective here in the United States as it compares to other countries. And at any rate, I want to mention one thing before talking about the homework, and that is you'll notice in your syllabus I mentioned the partnering, and I encourage you to partner with certain assignments that I'll give where I'll say you can do it with your partner. Some assignments I'll say you cannot do it with your partner, and you don't have to have a partner. You could have more than one partner if you want, but I encourage you to use the concept of partnering, because what you can do is you can, if you have a partner, you can, I'm not sure whether this is a human or not, but if you have a partner, two of you can teach each other. And that's a good way to learn. There's no better way to learn the subject until you have to teach it to somebody. So you could practice, first you could practice teaching it this way, and then you could practice teaching it the other way, and you get the idea. And you can certainly partner together on homework assignments where I say it's okay. And that will be true for this first assignment, which may be, we'll see how far we can take it. We'll try to do it. Maybe it'll develop into some small little project altogether when you put the different pieces together. And the way it'll work is like this, which is this first assignment will be, whether you partner or not, is you'll go to the Maryland website that is appropriate to form a non-stock corporation like we spoke about in class, and I want you to actually do the paperwork to create a non-stock corporation. So do the paperwork, print it out and bring it to class. So I do ask that you print it out. Hopefully that's not too much of a trouble. If it is, we can talk about it on Wednesday. But in the meantime, try to print this out and fill it in either by hand, or if you can fill it in online and print out what you've filled out to show me that you have created the paperwork that would successfully form a Maryland non-stock corporation. And included in that success would be not just the paperwork, but to make sure that the name that you choose for your non-stock corporation has not already been taken by somebody else. So you're going to choose a name that works. And to determine whether you've chosen a name that works, I'll check the appropriate place to see whether you've chosen a proper name, but you should do the work first to make sure you have a proper name that no one else has been using in the state of Maryland. So that's the first order of business, and then we'll see where we take it to the next step when we talk on Wednesday. Now the second part of the assignment, so this is part one. Part one is to create a non-stock that would work because no one else has the name, and so you did your homework on both parts. So this is part one. Part two for Wednesday will be to write out and hand in on a piece of paper all of the taxes in Maryland where a nonprofit can be exempt from paying those taxes. So you're going to need to be a little careful with this one because it's a little tricky, but you want to find out which taxes a Maryland nonprofit is exempt from. And states, why this is a little tricky is because of two reasons. I'll give you a little bit of a hint. It's tricky for two reasons. One, because there are numerous different taxes in Maryland. State and local taxes can be not just income taxes, but there can be real estate taxes, there can be sales tax, there can be unemployment insurance, there could be workers' compensation, and many perhaps other types of taxes. So you'll need to sort of understand that you're not just looking at income tax, you're looking at some of these other kinds of taxes as well. So that's A, why it's a little complicated, and B is because you got to be careful as to when you say which nonprofits are exempt from these taxes, you want to make sure you carefully identify which nonprofits you're talking about, because the state law is somewhat specific to certain types of nonprofits where tax is exempt and other types of nonprofits are not exempt. So you need to, I guess, in fact, I'll not guess, but I'll tell you the way to do it is the part of the homework here is to identify which nonprofits qualify for which kinds of tax exemption. So this is which nonprofits. I'll explain this one more time. So this is a little more challenging of an assignment. The basic idea is to look to Maryland law and look to see where they have tax-exempt organizations able to be exempt from Maryland tax. So it would be, one would be which taxes are they exempt from, and the B is what kind of an organization are we talking about, meaning what kind of nonprofit. All right, that's the idea. If you're not quite sure, send me an email for further clarification. So again, two parts to the homework assignment. One, actually print out and form a fictitious nonprofit organization, but one that would work if you actually filled out the form and sent it in with the money. I'm not asking you to spend the money to actually form it, but you will have to, in order to make sure it would work, you'd have to make sure that the name is available, and so therefore we'll be checking. That'll be part of the homework assignment that'll be checked to make sure you got a name that's not already taken. And the second part is to list out which Maryland taxes nonprofits can be exempt from, and what kind of nonprofits are we talking about. All right, thank you very much. See you Wednesday.